YouTube, my name is Joe Monteleone, and I am making this video my first ever tarot deck review.
How about that? How about that? Yup.
The YouTube community, I think, is like a catalyst for all this awesome nonsense that we get into. So I'd just like to feed off of the conversation with other tarot geeks, other occult and mysticism geeks. Because it's just awesome. So today, with my first ever tarot deck review, I will be reviewing the Thoth tarot deck. Okay, the Thoth deck. What the Thoth, right? What the Thoth. I don't know why more people don't use this deck. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. Let me just get this Crowley elephant in the room, okay? Let's talk about that real quick. The thing is, and this is what I always say, and I think we should say this about everyone, but specifically Aleister Crowley. You don't have to like the musician to like his music, okay? The musician can be an asshole, but the music, it doesn't take away from the magnificence that is his music, okay? You have to kind of doubt and be skeptical about people's accounts of certain things, but it's kind of like, if we think of like Jesus Christ, I've met Christians that are extremely devout that have actually told me, you know, it doesn't matter if Christ actually existed as a human or not. It's about his teachings. And I can agree with that, you know, because there's the fact that the progenitor of the idea, whoever that person was, does that affect what they did and what they taught? I don't know. It's up to you. For me, it doesn't really. For you, it may be. But at least for me, it's about his work, not the person, okay? That being said, here people are scared of this deck, and I really don't know why. Like, it's really not that aggressive. Compared to some tarot decks, it's pretty tame, I would say. Let's just start with the imagery, right? Because that's what people connect with most first. It's like that first, you just kind of know if you're going to vibe with it, if you're going to get along. The imagery is, under my very humble, objective criticism, is perfect. Actually, it's perfect. Like, what the hell is wrong with it? It's beautiful. It's beautifully geometric. The colors are so scrupulously curated. The symbols are super multivalent, super deep, super cosmic. Is this backwards? I can't tell. I hope not. But even if you don't even care about all the esoteric jargon that is immersed in this deck, the artwork itself is just really captivating, I find, especially with the major arcana. Like, no offense to any other decks, but it doesn't even touch this deck.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
But look at the star, like the use of geometry and like how the quality of the illustration and how it shifts qualities from one thing to the other thing. It's just like such an immaculate design. Lady Frieda probably was a genius, you know. I mean, she is just, look at that. Okay, so we get what it looks like. By the way, this is the larger version, which I use sometimes for study. I also have the smaller version, which I use more for readings. But the larger version is good because there's so much detail in the deck that there's a lot to uncover. That's another thing. It's cool. Sacred Seed, Elle from Sacred Seed, had mentioned that the deck is like, there's so much to it, it's sometimes unclear. And I actually do agree with you. Have to take time to really explore the imagery to get everything out of it. And it's not always clear totally. But that's what I like about it, because I like the cards to be a landscape that is always in some way a little bit unfamiliar to me. I've had the Thoth deck since I was about 12 years old. which is a long time ago, and I never noticed until maybe a year ago that this is a sperm cell. I've been really trying. And it's fucking genius. And like when you get into like the esoteric content of the card, it makes sense because the sperm cell, it clicks. And I think that's going to bridge me into the next great thing about the deck is its content. So artistically wonderful. Now let's talk about the content. Like, what is this deck about? Well, who is Crowley? What the shit? What the Thoth? The thing is, in my very humble and very critical opinion, I find that Crowley's Thoth Tarot connects to the esoterica of tarot more so than any other deck. Because he is honest and he kind of gives it all to you, as opposed to someone that we all know and maybe love, Arthur Edward Waite. He just doesn't give it to you, you know what I mean? And again, this is just my opinion and it'll probably change within the next couple days, but what he does in his writings, well, what has been rumored is that he specifically leads you down wrong intellectual paths to confuse you so that you don't find the true essence of what he's talking about. And that to me is just the opposite of what tarot is. Tarot is about finding truth and engaging with truth, whereas he's just playing these mind games. He's just kind of lying because he's writing it to the masses and he doesn't think that we're smart enough to understand.
You can't handle the truth!
So I'm sorry if you like the Rider-Waite. I actually do like the Rider-Waite a lot myself, but the author of the work and his books, he needs to check himself because shit. Even if you say Crowley doesn't reveal it all, he reveals so much in his book. And that's where we get to the Book of Thoth. So, this is the Book of Thoth. Now, this is my second Book of Thoth. My first one, I actually had the blue edition, like the older publication that was used, which was really cool because there were notes from somebody else and then my notes, and it was a really fun little cross-pollination of archives of ideas. But I lost it, you know, sometimes you just gotta let things go. And so I ordered a new one, and now this is a new edition. But this book is packed with so much knowledge. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking, oh my god, but the Book of Thoth, it's so hard to read, what the hell? I feel you on that. I totally do. I feel you. I feel you, man. I feel you, man. But, okay, so I started reading the book maybe a year and a half ago or so, and I was pretty stumped. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because he does ramble. And Kelly in this Truth and Story actually has a video about what to read and like the Thoth deck and what literature to read. And she says that. She says he does ramble, and he does. But that's why the book is so good, because he rambles about ideas that are so universal and so cosmic and so archetypal, but at the same time so comparative with all other patterns of other mysticisms and other faiths and other philosophies. So yes, he rambles, but that's why it's so rich, is because you're coming at the tarot as truly an interfaith device of patterns that engage in these archetypes, you know? So let's talk about what is actually in this book, what's going on. So it's pretty much, he's going through the tarot very much aligned with the Kabbalah. And that's another reason why I love his deck, is because I love the Kabbalah. At its least, a genius filing cabinet for the patterns and tendencies of human life, but nature. The beautiful thing about Kabbalah is that it works on every scale. So it's cosmic, and it describes and classifies and itemizes the creation of the universe in very smart models, but at the same time, it does that to you as a person. When you study it, you begin to really see the world in a new way. You start to notice synchronicities, you connect things, you connect numbers. The other thing that it's very much about is Thelema, which is Crowley's religion. I guess the religion was really sparked in 1904 when he wrote the Book of the Law, which is like the text or the scripture of the religion. And though I love the book, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. But what I love about the book is at the end of the book, he says, all questions of the law are to be decided only by appeal to my writings, each for himself. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. Love is a law, love under will. So with Thelema and the Book of the Law, I kind of take what I want from it, and that was his intention. He's not trying to push this in everyone's faces. He just says, take what you want from it, do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law, which is something I really connect with. Do what thou wilt, not as like do whatever you want, but do your higher will. That's what it's really trying to say, is connect with your higher self and do that will, which is the universal will. The last element I should mention that includes the Kabbalah, but is very much pervasive in his deck, is the Golden Dawn, and a huge reason why I was drawn to it in the first place. So the Golden Dawn was the occult organization that Arthur Edward Waite was a part of, and it was through that organization that he learned everything to make his tarot deck, the Rider-Waite Deck. What turns me off a little bit about the Rider-Waite Deck is that I don't feel like it embraces those teachings very much, and just like his writings, the deck itself I find is very hidden purposely. Like, the deck that he published for the masses was an exoteric tarot as opposed to an esoteric tarot. Whereas the Crowley deck is everything. It's all out for you. He goes into everything. There's just so much on every card. So there's this huge complex interplay of Holy Tetragrammaton, Tree of Life, 22 Hebrew letters, plus all the elemental attributions and the four worlds, plus all the astrology, the zodiac, the planets, and then on top of that is the thelemic ideas. So yeah, it's packed. I'm gonna say this about models and systems. If you like elements, because we all like the elements in tarot because they're just so obvious, the wands, the swords, the cups, the pentacles, or the discs, we like our elements, right? We feel very comfortable in talking about the elements and understanding them and how we can engage and interpret reality through those four elements. May I suggest that we realize that those elements are not core principles of reality, but rather mental constructs we use to communicate, understand, and engage and interface with reality. That's what the four elements are. They're just descriptive ideas to categorize and to create a taxonomy of experience, okay? Now, if you agree with that, then let's take this four elements idea and multiply it by a million other ideas, and you'll get the Thoth deck. It's the same excitement and understanding that you get from the four elements is what you'll get from the Thoth deck, but from on a much more complicated system. It is a spiritual deck. This deck is not to be used to find your keys. I would use the Rider-Waite deck to find my keys. This deck will not do that. It's just too general, and that's actually a fault of it. What attracts me in all mysticism and in all religion is the core of things. I'm always looking for the core, as close to the source as I can. I like renditions, I like revolution, I like change, but only as so much as you understand the core and source principles can you really fuck with it and remix it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, being that Crowley has provided the Book of Thoth for us with everything in it, well, not everything, but so much, that's very attractive to me, whereas Waite didn't, And I'm not saying you need to, this is just me. I'm really about sinking into the theory and the original intent before remixing and letting it, finding my own rendition and my own style with it. And so that's what Crowley provides. If you like reading, if you like theory, if you like intellectual models, if you like comparative thinking, if you like occult stuff, this deck is totally for you. I feel like I needed to make a video because I don't see enough people using the Thoth deck. It's just too powerful and impactful in my life to not share my love for it. But the best thing about his work is that he's always like saying, listen, don't trust me, do whatever you want, you know? Because it's all about love in the end. It's really all about love. So, all you Crowley haters, read his shit. Yeah. Yeah, get the Thoth deck. It's one of the 3 biggest traditions. If you've been Rider-Waiting for a while, you've been waiting too long. Okay, so don't Rider-Wait another minute. Just get the Thoth deck. Or don't, it's fine. But I'm just always interested in ways that we can go deeper and farther out, you know, into what tarot is and what it can be. Because I really think tarot is a means of engaging with life. I feel like I want to recommend the Thoth deck to people that really like decks like the Marielle Tarot, which is like so deep. That same rich, very spiritual, and very like cosmic way of looking at the tarot is, I find, very much embedded in the Thoth deck. And I'm not saying that the Rider-Waite is not that, but again, that's just my opinion, and my opinions change all the time. By tomorrow, I'll probably regret saying some of these things because I'm always having new ideas and always throwing away old ideas. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you like about the Thoth deck. Let me know what you hate about it. Let me know what doesn't work. I'm always about stretching my reality tunnel, and I want to be challenged, and I want to be persuaded. So let me know. And if you want to geek out with me with tarot, hit me up, you know? Okay, cool. I hope we can keep geeking out together about tarot and occult and mysticism and all the goods. And, yeah, I'll catch you later. Thanks.
I've been really trying.